Over the last few weeks, we've taken you behind the scenes as we put together a marketing campaign for a client. His event's coming up in right at a week. And what we want to do today is we want to explain in detail some of the strategies that we've utilized in putting together this campaign. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to show you and explain to you the 3 core strategies that we're using for this marketing campaign. So in part 4, we talked about some of the psychological triggers that we're going to use in these campaigns. We talked about social proof, we talked about authority, and we also talked about scarcity and how we're going to incorporate those into this marketing campaign. Those strategies actually come from this book, the book called Influence. And if you're doing any type of marketing or written communication or even verbal communication where you're trying to convince people to take action, we highly recommend you pick up a copy of this book. In this book, it goes through and explains in detail how you can utilize and how we as humans are influenced by certain psychological triggers. So again, highly recommend you pick up a copy of this book and utilize some of these triggers in your marketing campaigns.
We mentioned earlier the critical 5, so it's important to understand what those are. So first, we need to understand who are we trying to advertise to? Young, old, male, female, where do they like to shop? What do they like to do? If we don't understand that, we're gonna waste a lot of time and money advertising to people who don't really care about us or our product. Secondly, we need to understand the what. What do we want them to do? Do we want them to show up to an event? Do we want them to walk in the store? Do we want them just to know about us so they can tell other people? Or do we want them to buy something? Just like with the who, if we don't understand the what, we'll lead people to the wrong direction. Thirdly, we need to understand when do we want them to do it. Do we want to do it immediately? Do we want to do it at a specific time, like an event or a sale? Does it really matter? Can they just come whenever? Fourth, we need to understand why they want to do it. It's the question of what's in it for me. At the end of the day, people don't care about you, they don't care about your product, they care about what your product does for them. They care about how you make them feel. So you need to understand, why are people shopping at your place? Why are people coming to your service? And what is that process and what's that making them feel? What's the baseline emotion that they're getting from that? And finally, we need to understand how we're gonna get them to do what we want them to do. How are we gonna get them to buy our stuff? How are we gonna get them to talk about our company? How are we gonna get them in the store and at an event? Do you have a promotion? Do you have a sale? Do you have some type of giveaway? You need to figure out all 5 of these things, because that's gonna save you a lot of time, money, and headaches through your advertising and marketing programs. So make sure you filter everything through those 5 questions.
So one of the strategies that we're using in this campaign is something we call the natural progression. And you see what happens when we go out and market something to the marketplace, whether it's a product, a service, or an event, those people that we're reaching are often strangers. So they don't know us, they don't trust us, they don't like us. And the goal of marketing is to move them from a stranger into a friend. And what has to happen for that to take place is they have to know something about us and they have to like us. Now, to move people from a friend into a customer or into someone who's registered for this event, what we have to do is we have to not only have them know us and like us, but they also have to trust us. And you see, once they trust us, then and only then will they become a customer or a client. And then the final part that most people overlook is they overlook turning those customers into what we would refer to as evangelists. In other words, someone who can go out into the marketplace and tell their friends, their family, their coworkers why they should know us, why they should like us, and why they should trust us. And you see, when you create evangelists for your product, your service, your event, whatever it may be, you bypass the entire stranger portion of this process. And so what we're gonna do in this campaign is we're now going to put the current registrants to work for us by turning them into evangelists so that they go out and tell their friends and coworkers why they should register and attend this event. So in your marketing efforts, remember the natural progression and always be sure that you allocate some of your marketing budget to turning your existing customers into evangelists.